Welcome to Uncle Linus's potato farm. Now you're probably asking yourself, how does this make any sense? Think about it. AI is coming for our creative jobs, but you know what an AI can't do? Put plants in the ground. With the growing appetite for farming content and my background, it makes a lot more sense than you'd think. Like our sponsor. And I will allow you to join my team of pioneers. Swear fealty to me, my potatoes, and my alpacas. And oh, no. You can't take me away from my potatoes. I'm gonna be out in 30 days. You can't hold me. Just like I can't hold in this Segue to our sponsor.
So did he get lucky here? And if so, how lucky? Not lucky enough to cash this sweet check from our sponsor. We don't have the technology yet, but what we do have is a link to where to buy them down below, and this message from our sponsor. And I am one of only 2 people outside of ASUS who gets to show off the ROG Ally prototype today. And I'm the only one who gets to show you our sponsor. What if Steam Deck performance is lots, but I'd rather just run it sub 15 watts to get an extra hour or 2 of battery? You're gonna have to stay tuned to find out. And stay tuned for this message from our sponsor.
No tricks, guys, look. No fancy VFX. Ow, I'm stuck. Stuck telling you about our sponsor. And I think it is by far the best clean setup or you know what? I'm going for it. Fighting Words or anyone else have ever done. I love this thing. Just like I love telling you about our sponsor.
First, I need to spell out why AMD now makes the only gaming CPUs that matter, and I need to spell out this SEGUE to our sponsor. But they do need to counter hard, or it's gonna be hard to come up with a reason to build blue. That is, at least for now. Almost as hard as a reason to segue to our sponsor.
So let's see just how fast a PC can go at negative 40 degrees and if it can even survive. What will survive is this segue to our sponsor.
That could have actually been our problem, and I don't know why.
It can't turn back on.
Do you know it can turn on though?
This
Segue to our sponsor.
Damn it! Okay,
Don't worry, I won't feel a thing.
and you won't feel a thing with this gentle segue to our sponsor.
Yeah, it's convenient holder for your components, yeah.
And this is a convenient segue to our sponsor.
When we're done with the Flipper Zero, you're gonna know what's true and what is hazardous clickbait misinformation. You'll also know about our sponsor. Well, you still have yourself a cute little electronic dolphin friend that can play Doom. What it can't do yet, though, is segue to our sponsor. We found a stark difference in performance, so much that if you got a bad one, your system could run measurably slower. Oh, and we found a second thing, this message from our sponsor. Clearly the wrong choice for Amazon to use as a template for their own cooler. If they wanted a sponsor segue they could use as a template though, it would be this one, to our sponsor. Because by the time I'm done, at least some of you will have misdirected your anger toward me, the messenger. But here goes. This segue to our sponsor. One day, Ark will save us. But it is not this day. This day, I'm going to tell you about our sponsor. So then, are any of these things worth buying, or do they all need to go straight to the landfill? Like I'm gonna go straight to this segue, to our sponsor. I'm just gonna tell you to practice safe computing, and this ain't it. What this is a segue to our sponsor. The only rules are that I'm not allowed to be involved in this video at all, including watching it, and I need to tell you about our sponsor.
Is there anything that you wanted to say that I haven't covered, or?
If there's one more thing that I could tell the audience, it would be this message from our sponsor. Is this thing any good? Are the switches even colored red? Yes, they are. Have I wasted my money? I know the answer to one of these questions at least. And I know our sponsor. It's junk, and you should get yourself quite literally anything else. You know, I heard Tommy Hilfiger has a good gaming set. Just like I heard this is a pretty good segue to our sponsor.
It makes sense that you don't have to go too far down the Steam hardware survey to find the star of today's show. But is it any good? Is it even as good as this segue to our sponsor? The 1030's ability to launch them at 7 FPS is not a lot better. How are you gonna see enemies coming? How will you see this sponsor coming? How do you play games without a disk drive? And what sets this apart from the final retail unit? And who's gonna tell you about our sponsor? We've got you beaten. Now let's see who we're dealing with here.
And I would have gotten away with it too if it weren't for you meddling kids.
I think we're done here. Done telling you about our sponsor, 1,000 watts worth of computer, which, here, there we go. You know that we are going to be testing. Just like we're going to test your patience for my terrible segues. To our sponsor.
Once you fill it, it should work. You just can't ever put it back together again.
Just like this segue. To our sponsor. And the deeper we went, the clearer it became that someone needed to blow the whistle. Just like I'm gonna blow the whistle on our sponsor. Maybe it's not about protecting their image or their fans. Maybe it's about protecting their bottom line. Speaking of bottom lines, this is the bottom line of the script, meaning it's time to segue to our sponsor. So we wanted to dig deeper and find out who is to blame for this awful state of affairs and what can we do to make it right, with a little bit of help from our sponsor. But I see no reason right now why it wouldn't be.
Just like this unbelievable segue to our sponsor.
I can't think of anything better. So just use it. Now let's talk about the great consolidation after we talk about our sponsor. But what we didn't expect was all the things that we would learn about displays and interfaces along the way. We also didn't expect this sneaky segue to our sponsor. Just can't believe they were trying to charge $1,000 for this thing. And I can't believe I just snuck up on you with this segue to today's sponsor.